Well, good morning, YouTube. Alright, well, here I am at work today, and I'm doing a video today on product sourcing. Product sourcing is what I wanted to talk about. You know, when I got started in this, you know, I told you in the first video there about meeting my about that friend of mine who told me to go to an auction and buy all the box lots. You know, buy the box lots at the end of the auction because they were cheap. And when I first, there you go. Excuse me, bless me. I can't think if I did that right away. Now, I mean, it's been a long time ago. It's been, 15 years or so ago. But I did go and buy pretty much just because I didn't know anything, so I didn't want to go spend big money on stuff because I didn't know what sold and what didn't sell, and I was really only doing yard sales when I first started, so I wasn't actually doing eBay. So, as far as product sourcing goes, I was just looking for anything that, I'd already sold at the yard sale that we had. And so, this is the thing about it is when you go to a yard sale and you see that same yard sale every week or every other week or something, you see somebody regularly having a yard sale, the likelihood is that, yeah, they're going to have a lot of the same stuff they had before, but they could be just cleaning their house out. So if they're just cleaning their house out, the first yard sale they had could have just been the basement or the attic or a spare room or a storage shed. The second one could be what's left from that plus, another room or another part of the house where they cleaned out stuff, or a friend of theirs could have brought some stuff over. I mean, I don't know if you want to, if there's yard sales there every week and every week and every week, for every day of the year, you may want to think about, not really paying a whole lot of attention to a yard sale like that. But I would stop at yard sales that I've been to multiple times throughout the summer, especially when I first got started, because one thing, even if they are people who have had a lot of yard sales before, a lot of times if they're willing to talk, sometimes they'll share information with you that you might not have known, or you might not know, or they can just teach you something about reselling that you don't know. I mean, nobody knows everything, so a few minutes that you might spend talking to somebody could open up a whole new world to you of things that you can sell that you may not have been aware of. And it's a lot of the times that people that have those kind of sales they're usually pretty personable, and they usually like to talk, especially if it's older folks. They like to talk. So I would never say don't go to those places, but I might not go there first unless I have a history of getting good purchases there, And that's the other thing too, is sometimes those people they're the people that go to the auctions and buy box lots too. So they might just be buying the box lots just for a yard sale. So they're not even aware you're selling on eBay. They might not even be aware that an item that they're selling for $5 might be worth $50 on, and if you just pass that by, if you just say, well, they always have yard sales. They're always having yard sales. You could miss out on something that might be the best purchase you make that week. So I would say, make sure you give everybody at least try to find a way to stop in there and see what they got, what's going on. I mean, if you go in there and they're overpriced every week and that this sells for $5 on eBay or $10 on eBay or $15 on eBay, and they got $15 on it, or exactly what it sells for on eBay, the likelihood is that you're not going to get a good deal there. But you could. I mean, if you know how to negotiate well, you might be able to. But anyway, yard sales was a good way. I started learning. I learned a lot when I had that delivery route, and I first got started, and I was doing doing yard sales myself, having yard sales on the weekend. And I'd stop and I'd buy stuff on Thursdays and Fridays on my delivery route. And a lot of times some of these people, it was a delivery route, so I knew who was there and who was regular and who wasn't. And some of them gave me a lot of information that was really, really helpful, just about just yard selling, about what to look for, when to look for it, So I mean, if you're just getting started and you're looking for product sourcing and you're planning on doing yard sales and that sort of thing, there's an intrinsic value to stopping at those places.
I have a white pickup and a black pickup to send out.
Copy. So take some time and give those places a good shot. You know, like I said, you know, product sourcing for me when I first started, it was a good idea to stay cheap because I didn't know anything. So you know, I didn't usually like to spend more than a couple of bucks on an item unless I absolutely knew I was going to be making more money than that on it. I mean, I ran across guys at auctions who thought, you know, if they bought something for $1 and they sold it for $5, that they were doing really well, and that really wasn't, you know, what I didn't really want to do. That I wanted to, you know, if I bought something for $1, I wanted to make 20 or 25 or 30 on that item. That's what I wanted to do. But that was when I started doing eBay, not when I was having yard sales. When I was having yard sales, if I bought something for $0.25 and I could sell it for $1, yeah, I'd do that. But usually, it'd be, you know, something small or whatever. It wasn't usually big items. Yeah, thrift stores were like, you know, thrift stores were. It took me a while to get into this. You know, I didn't really think about going to those kind of places, thrift stores and that sort of thing. But you know, when you're first starting out, today it's a lot easier than it was when I started because you have a smartphone. You can look stuff up in different places and actually see if something's selling or if something isn't. And that's not always a guarantee that by the time you get it listed that it's going to sell, or at least not for those prices that are available. So you keep that in mind when you're sourcing product to put on eBay. There's a lot of good apps today. I mean, there's yard sale finders on through your smartphones and stuff like that. You know, I always tried with the yard sales. I always tried to find the ones in my area that I knew were the furthest away and try to get to those first. If I could get to those early, because they'd likely be setting up early, so I try to get the furthest away, especially if it was out in the country on dirt roads or something like that, because I knew that you know, most people weren't going to go there first. They were going to go in town and they were going to hit the easy ones in town and stuff like that. And a lot of times those easy ones are the ones you go to, and there's 10 dealers from the local antique shops and stuff, you know, and you go to them. Sometimes you'll find an auctioneer at a yard sale buying something to put in his next auction. I mean, so it's like, you know, I didn't really have a chance against those people, you know, because they knew a lot more than I did. So there wasn't a whole lot of point for me to go into those places because they were going to have everything scooped up anyway. Either, you know, the first sale or the second or the third one, I wasn't going to get a lot of good stuff, which is one of the reasons why.
Station 1 to Station 2, you have a roll-off headed your way.
Copy on the roll-off. Which is one of the reasons why I started selling books, because back then, I mean, nobody was selling. I mean, books they just ignored books. So, hold on. Station 4. This is Station 2. I have an inbound 18-wheeler.
4 copies. I'm all clear.
So, yeah, that was selling books. I mean, I picked niche items that a lot of people didn't want to mess with. You know, the dealers weren't buying books too often, and unless they were extremely rare and stuff like that, they just didn't mess with them. So books you could normally get cheap. You could buy for $0.25 and you could sell for $10. I mean, I bought one that I put on half.com. It was Mark's something or other, and I got it at a housing development for, I think it was $1, and I sold that thing as soon as I put it on half.com. It sold right away for $150. So I mean, that was a pretty good deal. But that's basically what you're going to be doing. Is you're going to be sourcing at yard sales and auctions and thrift stores, and that's going to be the best way to get stuff that's going to have the resale value for you. So anyway, like, subscribe, comment, ask me a question, something. All right. Okay. Bye.